Hey guys. Hey guys. I don't know if this is live yet. I hope it is. Sorry, didn't even look in the mirror before I got on. It's funny how as you get older, the mirror becomes less and less important. All right. So for today, I wanted to talk to you guys about making use of this amazing Pisces energy that we have coming up this month. So before we can really start digging into what are we going to do with this energy, let's talk about some characteristics of Pisces, because that's going to be very helpful in understanding what it is that we are working with, right? So on the positive side, Pisces is deeply empathic. So you have all of emotions and feelings and things like that are ruled by Pisces. They're also highly intuitive, which means also a lot of psychic gifts, psychic abilities, all of those things are also connected with Pisces. Pisces are very sensitive, going back to the emotions as well. They're very creative, and they're very compassionate. They're kind of like a little bit of the social workers in the zodiac. So they have an enormous capacity for forgiveness, for wanting to help others, making sure that everybody's okay, and just overall very, very everything that has to do with emotions and feelings and sensitivity, and obviously psychic ability, that is all kind of falling under that Pisces umbrella, right? So then the second part that we want to talk about is the shadows of Pisces, which means what are the things that Pisces energy is going to be prone to once we enter Pisces season. And not just if you're a Pisces, but we are in Pisces season starting today. And I want to make sure that we all are aware of these things, because they can influence all of us, because this is the energy that is around us right now, whether you're a Pisces or not. So shadows is escapist tendencies, which means that you have a higher propensity for trying to, you got to get this done really fast, but instead of doing that, because you really don't want to do it, you go and binge your favorite TV show, or you go do something else that is not what you need to do. So that is an escapist tendency, and Pisces tend to have that. They're not confrontational, so when something happens that they are uncomfortable with or they don't like, they tend to kind of run away from it. Pisces also, because they're highly sensitive, they tend to take things personally, a lot of things personally. So just be aware for yourself this month, when somebody says something, before you say, well, they're a jerk because they said that to me, or if they posted something on Facebook and you start reading into it and going, oh, I know that that's directed at me. That could be Pisces energy also acting on you this month. It may not be directed at you, but the energy is going to be telling you that, maybe it is, and maybe this is what you need to do. So be aware of that. The other thing is moodiness. Pisces is incredibly moody. So you're going to have a tendency for more moodiness this month. If you are going through a difficult time, those tendencies towards melancholy and depression are going to be even higher. If you're going to, have a higher chance, if you're going through something difficult, to be more sad about it this month, because that is the energy that is floating around you. Lack of boundaries is another problem of Pisces. Pisces is kind of like goes places that they are uninvited, and they also allow people to kind of step all over them and come into their space. So just be aware of that. If you are setting up boundaries in relationships to make them healthier, this month is going to be kind of pushing you to take those boundaries down. So don't do that. Make sure you keep them up. And then finally, Pisces lives in a fantasy world. So Pisces are the dreamers, right? So they tend to fantasize about what happens. And a lot of times that ties into the escapism, right? So you tend to run away from things you don't want to do. One of those methods of running away may be just creating this dream world that you go in and you daydream and all of this, which is a huge time sink, and it keeps you from being more productive. So just be aware of all of that. And then also the idea of living in a fantasy world is sometimes Pisces is unable to understand a situation for what it truly is. They're looking at a situation and going, well, this is my interpretation of it, which is sometimes may have very rose-colored glasses on there, instead of going, no, this is what's actually happening. So these are the energies for this month that we are going to, or not this month, for the next, 3-4 weeks that we are going to be working with. So there's things as usual, when you have energy that's available to you like this from a planet or from a sign or from, anything, that energy is kind of a complete unit, right? You can't just, when the energy comes for you to take advantage of it, it's not like you can say, well, I'm only going to let this part of this energy affect me, the other stuff is not going to affect me. And that's not how it works. It's kind of a package deal. So even though you can make very good use of the energy of healing, intuition, psychic development, all of that Pisces is bringing you, you need to also be aware of the other side of that energy and what that looks like, so you fall into those, pits, those traps during the month. So that's basically what Pisces is all about in a nutshell. So how are we going to take advantage of this energy for this month? So there's a few things. I have some recommendations that I printed off the website, and then these are some recommendations of mine. So I'm just going to go through this list, and we're going to talk about it. So one of the things on that I printed says, pay attention to your dreams, set an intention before you go to bed, remember your dreams, or be open to receiving messages in your dream state. So this ties in with the Pisces intuition, right? And it's really, Pisces normally tend to have pretty vivid dreams. A lot of Pisces will have very vivid dreams, and they may even be receiving messages through their dreams. So the world of the dream world for Pisces is a pretty big influence. Obviously, it's ruled by Neptune, so that's why. So if you are trying to work on lucid dreaming, this would be a fantastic month to do it. Or if you're not doing it, and if you want to start, this would be a great month to do it. If you are working with any kind of spirit or ancestors or anything like that, that you are asking for questions and asking for guidance, just be aware that those responses may come to you in a dream state, because the energy is primed for that right now. So there's several things to look at when it comes to being in a dream state and what's going to come your way from that. Choose compassion over judgment. Try working with the mindset everyone I meet is doing their best. So once again, this is kind of trying to counterbalance that negative side of Pisces, which takes everything personally, right? So somebody does something and you have to, take a minute and think about it. Are they really doing that to be jerks to me? Or are they doing it because they're struggling with something else, and this is just a side effect of what's happening? Not everything is going to be necessarily directed at you. So it's important to understand that when you are working through this month and not taking things personally, because since that energy is going to be a little bit hyped up, and if you are a person that normally tends to take things personally, if you're a person that's normally very, very sensitive, keep in mind that all of those things are going to be jacked up this month. So you need to pay close attention to that to make sure you don't fall into any of those traps and end up doing things that may cost you a friendship or something. Go deeper with your connection with your intuition and the spirit world. It's a great time to pick up a tarot deck, begin meditating, or learn more about the woo-woo. I love that word. So this is a great time to start if you are looking at starting with divination. Divination is a fantastic way to make use of this energy this month, whether you're using decks or runes or a scrying mirror or what have you. This is the time to just work with that. And it's really one of the examples I'm going to give, because I got a card deck right here that you can work with to start training your intuition. You can like pull a card like this one right now, right? And you can look at that card and see what messages does this card give me? So if you were to ask a question, let me see if I can do one with a question, then you guys will know what I'm talking about. So let's say you're going to ask a question about yourself, about, how is my week going to go, for example. So I'm going to pull a card, and this is the card I'm pulling. I am pulling the rhinoceros, and lots of fire in there. So for me, fire means active. There's a lot of activity, which makes sense because my week is very busy this week. You have the rhinoceros, which is a symbol of protection also, which means that maybe this week I'm going to feel more connected with my spirit guides, more protected by them. And then you also have this man here kind of sitting in a meditation position above it, which to me, even though he's sitting in the middle of all this fire, to me, it looks like, even when things are going chaotic around you, do your best to stay centered, do your best to stay balanced. So that's my message. I have a busy week. I have spirit watching over me, and I just need to struggle and make sure that I stay balanced throughout everything to get through it in a good way. So you can do something like this. You don't necessarily have to use the book that comes with your deck. This is a great way to train your intuition, and be sure to take notes. So then, when you see something, write down which card you pulled, write down what you saw and how you interpreted. And then at the end of the week, maybe you want to go in and write down how your week actually went. How did that that card reading that you did in the beginning of the week, how did that help? And that is a great, great way for you to start training your intuition. And starting during Pisces season is one of the best times to get started, because it's really, really, the energy is right there for you. And for those wondering, this is the deck that I'm using. This is Divine Animals Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. I love this deck. I love the imagery of it. Any deck with animals is going to pretty much get me. So, but this is this deck. So that is one way that you can do it. If you want to do it with runes, if you want to do it with other tools, that's fine too. But this is a perfect time to start training your intuition. So let's see, read poetry and allow yourself to daydream or fantasize. And that's really for those people who tend to be very grounded in reality and tend to not escape into their creativity or their daydreams or whatever. This is a perfect time for you to take a break from that. Take a break from, reality is going to be there for you. It's never going to go away. So take a break and sit back and just find yourself taken into whatever your favorite thing is. So for example, for me, I love the Marvel movies, completely love it. And when I'm watching those movies, I feel like I'm in that universe. So for me, it's a great way to escape when I'm having a very difficult time. I just do that and I can escape into the Marvel universe for a little bit and then come back out. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use that escapism type energy to kind of bring more balance into your life if you are extremely unbalanced. Now, if you're balanced and you start using too much of that, then you can become unbalanced. So just keep that in mind. So if you are very much in the here and now and, most of the grindstone, making sure that you're doing everything you need to do, your actual physical everyday life is super chaotic, you need to introduce a little bit of this dream energy, creativity, of kind of just releasing from reality for a little bit so that you can kind of bring balance and centering back into your life. So that is another thing that you can make use of this energy for in this month. Be open to changing your mind, especially around concepts of reality and what is possible for your life. And this here is a month of positivity, is what I want you to think about. So there's I know a lot of people that are very pessimistic. My husband being one of them. I am not like that. I am very optimistic. I normally shoot for, the moon, and I, work my ass off to try to get up there. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you are somebody who always plans for the worst, is always kind of in this state of going, when you start something like this will never happen, this will never work out for me, this is not something that's going to be good. And if you start kind of moving into that direction with your everyday life, take this month's energy as a challenge to step back and reevaluate that. Don't make decisions on things before they're complete because you think they're going to fail. Pull back and allow yourself the opportunity to succeed. And because when you are a pessimist person, when you have this mentality of, I'm just going to plan for the worst. I always plan for the worst and then hope for the best. Sometimes that's a good preparedness policy, but it has to be extremely balanced, because if you do it and you start over focusing on the worst in your planning for the worst, you are not dedicating any energy to the best. You are going to manifest the worst because that's where you're at. So it's important to be aware of the worst, but also keep moving forward in a positive way and still working towards your goal. Just be aware of what your options are. So if you are somebody who is constantly in this kind of like, nothing will work out for me, for this month, release that and take a step back and then say, you know what? I am open to success. I am open for the universe to bring me positive things. I have this project going on right now. I'm going to approach it in a different way. Instead of approaching it like I'm going to plan for the worst, I'm going to approach it and I'm going to put it out there that the best of it's going to come to me. So be very open to making changes in terms of your attitude and to bring a little bit more positivity into your life. Create boundaries and only say yes to people, experiences, and opportunities that truly feel aligned with your highest and best good. This is one of the things that Pisces struggles with. And for those of you who struggle with boundaries, and when I'm talking about boundaries, what I'm talking about is if you have a hard time saying no to somebody, if you feel that sometimes people take advantage of you or people walk all over you. A lot of times people will say, well, people are taking advantage of me and doing that, and it's their fault that they're doing that. I'm going back to blame again, right? Like we talked about last week, because that is you giving your power away. So just be aware that if people are taking advantage of you, it's because you are allowing them to do that. So this may be the month for you to set some boundaries and say, you know what, I'm not gonna, and you don't have to be rude about it. You know, if somebody says to you, do you want to, babysit for me Friday night? You don't have to say, no, jerk. You don't have to be like that. You can say, nope, I can't. I have other plans, instead of pushing to say, okay, I'm going to do it because you're asking me to. So just make sure that you do a balance between helping others when you feel that that help is merited, but also putting yourself first to make sure you are taking care of yourself as well, so that people are not walking all over you. So this month is going to be a great month to set boundaries. If you are somebody who doesn't have any boundaries right now and you're looking to get started, pick something small and start with something small, and then start going bigger and bigger and bigger from that. And then slowly you can build up that confidence to put your boundaries out there. So that's kind of a way that you can start that. And then finally, be aware of any tendencies to escape or numb out when things don't go your way. This can be through TV, social media, food, and of course, drugs and alcohol. Once again, that escapism comes in. So, this goes back to what we talked about earlier about, if you're very grounded in reality, it's a time to maybe take a little bit of escapism, relax. You can have a glass of wine, watch your favorite movie, and chill. But if that's all you're doing and you're not connecting back with reality, then you are escaping. And then that's also not going to be productive. So just be very aware of how you're spending your time. And this, once again, goes back to balance, right? Make sure that you are walking in balance in everything that you do. So if you are spending, and it's interesting to know when you look at your day, right? And you look at, you're going to sleep for 8 hours. Most of us are going to work between 4 and 8 hours during the day. Some people work more than that. And then you're going to have time off, 8 hours, maybe to 12 hours you're going to have that you can just, do whatever you want to do. So make sure that when you are asleep and taking care of yourself that way, you are solely focused on that. Go to bed on time, make sure you get enough sleep. Then make sure that when you are at work, that's what you're focused on. You are focused on working. You're being productive. You're getting the most out of your day. And then comes 5 o'clock, you go home and you leave work behind. So make sure that when you go home, you're actually home and you're chilling out and you're relaxing and you're decompressing and you're giving yourself the downtime that you need to give yourself. If you can't do that for the whole evening, make sure that you do it for at least 1 or 2 hours and say, I'm going to come home and I'm going to decompress. I'm going to watch my favorite show. I'm going to hang out with my partner, with my animals, and decompress for a couple hours before you jump back on to start doing work or whatever other activity you have to do. So make sure that your day is balanced. So if you are trying to escape, if you're at work, but you're on Facebook all day and you're not getting any work done, that's not going to work for you. If you're at work all day, you come home, you hop on your computer and you're back at work at night, that is extreme imbalance as well. That is not going to work for you. If you are substituting sleep for work or for anything else, that is also not going to be good for you. So remember, it's a balance. Every day it's a balance. And that is one of the ways that you can take advantage of this Pisces energy as well. So now from my list. So this was from the list that I had printed out from this one website. And if you want to take a look at it, it's a website. It's from Emily Nachazel, Nachazel, and that is her it's EmilyNachazel.com. If you want to go read some more of her information, really cool stuff on her website. Now, for what I want to talk about, for what I would do with this energy is, if you are feeling particularly down, start a gratitude journal. And I know I keep talking about gratitude journal all the time, but it really is a fantastic tool for you to be able to start putting yourself first and pulling yourself out of a depressive state. When you find things in your life to be grateful for, it's more difficult to stay really depressed and sad. So this is a great way to start kind of managing some of that energy and lifting yourself up if this is what you need to do. Number 2 is work on forgiveness of yourself. We make mistakes and we are going to beating yourself up after you made the mistake. Some people do it for months, for years after. Oh my God, I should have done that. I screwed that up. Great. You screwed it up. It's a lesson. You're going to learn from it. forgive yourself and move on, because just in this process of constantly beating up yourself for whatever mistakes you made, it's going to be bringing you down, and bringing down all the work that you're doing towards standing in your power and gaining your self-confidence. So it's really, really important that you start kind of forgiving yourself. You're human. You're not perfect. Everybody is human. And it always astounds me, and I'm the same way, how easy it is for us to forgive others from the mistakes that they make. But then when it comes time to forgive ourselves, it's really hard. We tend to beat ourselves up really a lot. So we don't want to do that anymore. Just kind of learn to forgive yourself, release the mistakes you made, take them in as lessons, and then move on, and don't hold on to that negative energy. The other thing, obviously, this month, self-care and healing. This is the month for it. So if you're doing any kind of shadow work, that's going to lift up a lot of negative feelings or emotions as you process that. Pulling your shadows back into the light sometimes can be really, really a difficult process. It can be emotionally taxing. And if that's what you're working on right now, there's going to be a lot of energy in this month to help you to support that process. But keep in mind that at that point, it's even more important for you to be gentle with yourself, for you to do some self-care for yourself. The other thing you can do is work on restoring your heart chakra. So if you came out of a difficult, a difficult relationship where maybe it was abusive towards you, either mentally or emotionally, or you came out of a very, very difficult job where you kept being put down and being pushed out of things by your boss or your coworkers, or anything like that that really has caused you some personal trauma, then this is the month to start working on that and start rebuilding your heart chakra, understanding that you are worthy of love, understanding that you are never going to be perfect, and that is okay. And so all of that work is going to be much more facilitated in this month with the Pisces energy. And then finally, last but not least, is divination, which we already talked about. So that overlapped between what I had to say and what she has to say. So there's a lot of cool things happening for Pisces this month. And so I hope that you are able to take advantage of that. Don't forget that tomorrow we're going to have our live sale. It's going to be a lot of things focused on building your intuition, I'm good. Oh my God. I didn't yawn all morning until I get on the live. And now it's like yawning after yawning after yawning. But tomorrow we're going to have the live at 5:00, and we're going to focus on items that are going to help heal your heart chakra, help improve your intuition and strengthen your intuition, items that are going to be helping you with forgiveness of yourself so that you can move on to better things, and items that are going to be kind of still building on the theme from last week, helping you to reclaim your power. So we're going to have a lot of different things this week, some similar themes, but different items for you to choose from. So if you didn't find anything that resonated with you last week, it'll resonate with you this week. If you have any questions, feel free to post a question as a reply to this video. You can also message me at the Wyld community. You can post a question at the Wyld community if you want to, or you can message me via Facebook or Instagram. Either one of those work. And so I want to thank you for spending time with me. And I will see you all again next Monday when I do the next Witches In. All right, guys. Bye-bye.